What's up, everybody? KleverKrok back for another analysis video focusing on the viability of Raikou in the draft format. Now, Raikou, as many of you know who play in the GTA, Raikou is a very successful and really solid Pokemon that's been used, I believe, only by the Raikous since it made its first debut, I think in Season 1 or 2. And it has continued to be a solid threat because of that speed stat, as well as the special attack. And in general, something that people don't always realize is that in the draft format, it's just been proven in other leagues and in this league that fast electric types are one of the most important things and one of the best things to have, honestly, when you draft. So Raikou is obviously a solid pick because it's got decent bulk, so it can live some hits. It's got a really good speed stat and a really good special attack stat. And it can just hit really hard. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at some of the sets that I typically think about when I use it, or in some scenarios, what other people have used. Excuse me. So the first one is Choice Specs, which you can run on any special attacker, but is really good for electric types because you got that volt switch, and then you've got, so it can be a good pivot that also hits really hard, which makes it really usable. And obviously you can throw like Hidden Power Ice on it for those ground types if you're going to predict a switch in. Shadow Ball does good neutral damage to everything, so if you're also predicting a switch in, like a ground type switch in or a grass type, Shadow Ball usually hits it with a solid, with that specs it does so much. It can work really well, but you have to make the right decisions if they have those immunities. Otherwise, it can backfire because then you have to switch out if you locked into something that you can't hit them with because they're immune. So it's a good set. I really like it. I haven't used Raikou all that much. I've definitely not used him in the draft format, but he's just a really solid mon overall. So we'll go ahead and look at the next set, which is fairly similar in that it's a Life Orb set. Now, with the Life Orb set, it's the same stats and build, run a timid nature, so it has that 361 speed. Same thing with the Life Orb set. The only difference is that since you're not locked into anything, you can switch it. You can keep Hidden Power Ice if you want it, just so you can move back and forth, because Life Orb, it deals damage to you every time you use a move successfully, but you also do a little bit less damage than Choice Specs, and you're not locked into a move once you use it. So you can run things like Calm Mind if you want. If you don't need HP Ice, you can obviously switch it out here. What else? You can run other things like Hidden Power Fire is pretty good on Raikou. Hidden Power Grass if they have a really strong water ground type. Let's see. Aura Sphere you can use if you make sure that it's the special event set, which you can look up. But this is a pretty good set too. Like I said, you could still do Hidden Power Ice and do that, and then just have the ability to freely switch between moves in case you do make a mistake. So there's that too, but the cost is obviously losing life points every time you land a hit, which isn't the end of the world on sweepers. They're meant to come in and hit hard and break things down and not necessarily live the entire time. But those are some pretty common sets. They're good. Raikou's really strong. It's got a decent move pool. It's got some decent physical attacks, but you could make use of its attack, but it's really not that good. I mean, it's the only priority it has is extreme speed, and that's not the best. But I mean, it's got Aura Sphere, like I said, if you're running the event legendary set. Let's see, Signal Beam as well, and you've got things like Roar and Toxic, and you could do Sub Calm Mind is a good one, which we'll look at here in a second. So another one, and this is probably my favorite, this is the same kind of build here, but instead of doing Life Orb or Choice Specs, you run Assault Vest. So I think this makes it an even stronger pivot, in my opinion, because you can switch it in on a special attack, and even though it's already got decent bulk, it's got that Assault Vest, which gives a 50% bonus to your special defense, so it can make it an even stronger pivot because it also doesn't lock you into moves when you switch. The only downside to this, obviously, is you can't run things like Calm Mind or Roar because Assault Vest only works, or only allows you to use attacking moves. So there is that. I do like the Assault Vest though, because Raikou is generally used with a set something like this with just straight up attacks. Now, this is probably my favorite one because I like strange ones and I like ones that aren't typical. So I have a little bias here, but this is the Leftovers Calm Mindset. So you switch in on something, let's say, and it forces the switch out, and you start setting up a substitute, or you set up a Calm Mind, or you do sub and then Calm Mind, and then you have that +1 special defense, that +1 special attack, maybe still have a sub up, and then you can hit hard with a Thunderbolt or Shadow Ball, which has pretty decent coverage. The only thing that obviously can wall this completely would be a Diggersby, but not many people really drafted that, and that would be the only scenario where I think you couldn't hit a Pokemon at all. So I really like it, and you'll notice here that I don't have a fully invested speed stat because with this you're wanting it to run a bit bulkier, you're wanting it to be harder for those subs to break because it takes 25% of your health for a sub, and so the more health you have, the bulkier the sub is, and it's a bit harder to break, and it just gives you more survivability since you're using this as kind of a sub setup. So running it this way, you still outspeed things like, you know, any of the 100 base stat Pokemon. You could even run it where it's 334, so you outspeed those Garchomps. If they have a Garchomp, you can run Hidden Power Ice, or like a Landorus for that matter, you know, but if it's Scarf Landorus, you don't have the opportunity there. But, you know, like I said, there's opportunities here. Really, you always want to run Thunderbolt, especially on these other ones. Volt Switch, I usually wouldn't run on the sub Calm Mind because Volt Switch doesn't carry over stats and substitutes like Baton Pass, and I think it's just Baton Pass. That Baton Pass transfers over. So I really like Raikou. It's definitely really strong. The only thing I would say is that even though it has a strong move pool, when it comes to special attacks, there's not a lot of coverage per se, but you don't really need it because that electric stab hits so hard, and if you can use a Hidden Power Ice really well, Shadow Ball's good neutral damage, and you can hit normal types with electric neutral. If they do have a normal type, they try to switch in on a Shadow Ball. So you've got plenty of coverage here. You could, I guess, run him physical if you really wanted to throw somebody off. He's also got extra sensory, which is a good psychic attack if they have something that's really weak to psychic. But generally, like, neutral hits from Thunderbolt and then Shadow Ball are going to be worth using most of the time. Excuse me. So that's kind of all I have to say about it. I think Raikou deserves to be in the place it is. I think it's like, let's just look at the top 25 real quick. So Raikou's in number 5 right now, mostly because of this season, but number 5 in overall player records as of week 6 of this season. So, and this season being season 3 for those of you guys watching in the future. But I really like Raikou. I really like what he can do. Like I said, fast electric types are so strong in this format, and it's so good because it puts so much momentum on the opponent. It allows for good pivots and Volt Switch, and it really just, it's hard to have a straight up answer for something like Raikou, because if it is bringing the Aura Sphere, things who want to come in and Earthquake it are going to probably eat an Aura Sphere because they probably want outspeed, and things that are faster generally can't one-shot Raikou unless they're already set up. So like I'm thinking of things like Alakazam can't, I'm pretty sure. Weavile definitely cannot. But just the fact that it's bulky enough to like live hits and then return a really hard hit against something that does outspeed it, I think is a really important thing to be aware of. So that's all I've really got to say about Raikou. he's really good, very straightforward, one of the best electric types in my opinion in the format, and it shows in its number 5 placing. So I guess what I'll do is I'll give my first S rank to Raikou out of the ones I've analyzed so far, because it really is like exactly what you want to have, is something that's solid, something that's fast, and something that can keep pressure on the opponent, and it does all of those things. So that's all. Next time we will talk about, I believe, Mega Venusaur. So, and that's going to be a really interesting one to talk about too. So without further ado, guys, I will see you all next time. Thanks for watching, guys. If y'all enjoyed the video, go ahead and leave a like, and if you want, subscribe for more videos. Hope to see y'all in the future, and thank you for watching.